Have you ever woken up tired? I don't mean the kind of tired that a strong cup of coffee or an extra hour of sleep can fix. I mean a weariness that seems to have settled deep within your spirit. A profound exhaustion that greets you before your feet even touch the floor. It's a heavy cloak you can't seem to shrug off. A gray filter that colors every sunrise. There are seasons in life when this exhaustion runs deeper than our bones. It's a quiet, persistent ache that permeates everything. This isn't the result of a single bad day, but the slow, grinding accumulation of many. It's the cumulative weight of countless worries, silent struggles, and battles fought in the private, unseen corners of our hearts. It's the long winter of the soul, where everything feels frozen and the warmth of spring seems like a distant, half-forgotten memory. This is not just physical tiredness, but the kind that weighs down the heart. It's the spiritual fatigue that sets in when our most fervent prayers seem to hit the ceiling and fall back down, unanswered and unheard. It's the profound discouragement of walking up to door after door, full of hope, only to find each one firmly locked. It's the maddening frustration of pouring every ounce of your energy into moving forward, only to feel like you're taking 2 steps back for every one you take. Maybe for you, it's the constant low-level anxiety of financial strain, the numbers never quite adding up. Perhaps it's the strain of a relationship that has become a source of pain instead of comfort, a place of conflict instead of refuge. Or maybe it's the relentless pressure of a career that drains your passion and leaves you feeling hollow and unseen. It could be the long, lonely road of caring for a loved one, or the quiet, persistent grief that lingers long after a loss, an echo in an empty room. It's the feeling of being stuck, watching the world move on while you're trapped in a cycle of just trying to get through the day. And in the stillness of the night, when the world is finally asleep, the questions come flooding in. You find yourself staring at the ceiling, the darkness amplifying the whispers of doubt and despair. Lord, how much longer can I carry this? You ask into the void. Have you forgotten me here in the shadows? Did I miss a turn somewhere? Am I on the right path at all? Where is the strength you promised, the joy I've read about, the peace that's supposed to surpass all understanding? It's a raw, honest cry from a heart that is simply worn out. If this resonates with you, if this is the season you find yourself in right now, I want you to hear this. You are not alone. This feeling of being utterly spent is not a sign of spiritual failure. It is a sign that you have been strong for far too long, carrying a burden that was never meant to be shouldered by yourself. It is the honest cry of a soul longing for rest, for renewal, for a glimmer of hope in the darkness. The Bible speaks directly into moments like this in Isaiah 40:31. But they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Picture the eagle. It doesn't escape the storm by flapping harder or fighting against the wind. Instead, it spreads its wings and lets the very storm that threatens to overwhelm it carry it higher. That is what God promises for those who trust Him. Not that life's storms will disappear, but that His strength will lift us above them. Throughout history, we find stories that echo our own struggles, whispers of hope from the past that speak directly to our present weariness. These aren't just ancient tales, they are roadmaps of faith, showing how ordinary people found extraordinary strength when they had none left. Think of David. We see him as a future king, but in that moment, he was just a boy, overlooked and underestimated, standing before a giant who mocked God. The trained soldiers were paralyzed by fear, but David's focus wasn't on the giant's size, it was on God's greatness. He remembered the lion and the bear, past moments of faithfulness. He stepped onto the battlefield armed not with armor, but with that memory. His sling was a tool, his faith was the weapon. He teaches us that our past victories, no matter how small, are evidence for our present battles. Or Hannah, a quiet portrait of persistent faith. For years, her heart ached with the grief of childlessness, a pain made sharper by ridicule. Her prayer wasn't polite. The scriptures say she was deeply distressed, weeping as she poured out her soul to God. She held nothing back, offering her raw anguish and vulnerability. In that moment of surrender, something shifted. Before she received her son, her face was no longer downcast. She found strength not in an immediate answer, but in trusting God with the most broken piece of her heart. Her story reminds us that waiting is not wasted. And the disciples, imagine their despair. The man they had left everything for was executed. Their hope was dead. They huddled in a locked room, grieving and terrified. Their movement was shattered. their future a void of fear. It was over. But their story doesn't end there. In this place of absolute weakness, God displayed his most profound power. The resurrection wasn't a victory they achieved, it was a miracle they received. Light blasting into their darkest hour. Their story is a testament that even when our hopes are buried, God is preparing a dawn we cannot imagine. David, Hannah, the disciples, their circumstances were different, but the thread connecting them is the same one offered to us. Every story tells us the same truth. In our weakness, his strength shows up. The world tells us to be strong, but faith invites us to be honest about our weakness, to open our hands and allow a strength greater than our own to fill us. It's knowing the places where we are most fragile are where God's grace is most ready to break through. In our fast-paced world, waiting often feels like a punishment, a sign that we've fallen behind. We see it as empty, unproductive space. But here's the beauty. Waiting on the Lord is not wasted time. It's a sacred practice, a season of profound, unseen work. Think of a farmer who has planted a seed. They don't see the growth overnight. They wait, but their waiting is active. They tend the soil, they water the earth, they trust the process of life unfolding in the darkness. This is the kind of waiting we are called to. It's a world away from sitting with folded arms in frustration, tapping our feet with impatience, wondering if God has forgotten our address. That kind of waiting drains our spirit and magnifies our anxieties. It's a cycle of striving and stressing that leaves us more depleted than when we started. The divine invitation is to shift from this anxious stillness to an active, hope-filled anticipation. It's a conscious choice to transform the waiting room of life into a sanctuary of preparation. True waiting is leaning in, not pulling away. It's opening your heart to God, especially when it feels bruised and tender. It's praying even when the words won't come, offering the sighs and tears as a language he deeply understands. It's trusting even when the path forward is shrouded in fog and nothing makes sense from your current vantage point. It's remembering that Joseph couldn't see the palace from the prison, but he held on to his faith. And most importantly, it's choosing to believe that God is still the author, carefully and lovingly writing your story. This difficult chapter is not the end. He hasn't put the pen down. He is simply crafting a plot twist you can't yet see, weaving every detail into a masterpiece. So if you feel worn down today, remember this. Your strength doesn't have to come from you. The practice of waiting is the very act of letting go of your own efforts and plugging into an infinite source. As the prophet Isaiah promised, "They who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles." Your waiting is not passive. It is the very thing that strengthens your wings. You are not stuck. You are being fortified for the flight ahead. God never asked you to carry it all alone. He promises to renew you, to lift you up, to give you endurance when your legs feel weak, and to breathe hope into places where you feel empty. You may feel weary, but you are not forgotten. You may feel tired, but you are not abandoned. God sees you, He loves you, and He is preparing you to soar, so spread your wings of faith. Let His Spirit lift you. Walk forward even in weakness because His strength is more than enough.